It was a night much like this one when I first encountered the shadow people. I had just moved into my new, old house, hoping for a fresh start. Little did I know, something sinister awaited me in the shadows. As the rain poured outside, I felt a chill in the air that had nothing to do with the weather. It was as if the house itself was warning me of the secrets it held. The house was old, with a history that was all too common in tales of the supernatural. It had been abandoned for years, and stories of strange occurrences had circulated among the locals. I began to explore the house, one room at a time, and that's when I saw them, shadowy figures lurking in the corners of my vision, vanishing the moment I turned my head. The shadow people, as I would come to call them, were elusive and malevolent. They moved silently, their movements fluid and unnatural. I was sure I wasn't imagining things. I decided to dig into the history of the house. I discovered that it had once been a home for the mentally ill in the early 20th century. The treatment of patients was, by today's standards, inhumane. Historian, shivers. The conditions were horrific. Many patients were subjected to experimental treatments and isolation. The more I learned about the house's dark past, the more I realized that it was connected to the shadow people. But what did they want? Why had they chosen me? I began recording my experiences. Cameras and voice recorders captured the eerie occurrences, and the shadow people seemed to grow bolder. They whispered to me in hushed voices, their words unintelligible. They left dark, untraceable stains on the walls, and sometimes they seemed to reach out, their hands nearly touching me. I had to find a way to banish them from my life. But first, I needed to understand their connection to the house's history. The more I delved into the past, the clearer it became. The shadow people were the tortured souls of former patients, trapped in this realm by the atrocities committed within these walls. Armed with this knowledge, I decided to perform a cleansing ritual to free the spirits. It was a risky endeavor, but I had to try. As I chanted the incantation, the house trembled and the shadows writhed. It felt like an eternity, but at last, the malevolent presence began to dissipate. The shadow people were gone, and the house finally felt at peace. But I knew that their legacy would always linger in the dark corners of my mind. The shadow people were a reminder that some horrors never truly fade. They are trapped between this world and the next, a warning that the past can cast long, dark shadows into the present.